With Nightmare modes released so close, I've been thinking a lot about how the new tower is going to be obtained. I've been wondering, how is John going to make unlocking these towers feel satisfying? Behemoth, War Machine, and Refractor are meant to be the new most powerful towers, so how players unlock them is important. If you ask me, I think John should step away from gold, but I don't want a second currency called Calamity Crystals or something dumb like that to serve as gold too. There needs to be a grind, but it should be unique to what players have become accustomed to with gold. Challenges are one of the best ways to switch up the grind for new towers. Tower Bliss use these really effectively for things like Bliss of Finality, which is one of their top towers. I think having the new towers be unlocked by a challenge on top of a gold requirement could be really cool, especially if the challenge isn't something boring like just killing a boss twice or beating a mode 3 times. It should act as a gateway between pre-Nightmare mode and post-Nightmare mode, if that makes sense. Terraria fans will understand what I'm saying. The game's current progression just consists of buying new towers after getting enough gold, tokens, or XP, not stopping to check if the towers you buy are really the ones you should. Basically, what I'm saying is the objectives you have to complete in the quest should act as certain checks for players placed in the game. Rather than letting players rush for, say, Behemoth, they need to unlock and use other towers first. This could incorporate towers from throughout the game's progression. For example, it could include towers like Ghost, John, Helicopter, Railgunner, and so many more. Any non-exclusive tower works as long as it makes the player fully flesh out their inventory. I think that Nightmare towers should also have a specific map that you need to beat in order to get them. These would be one of the Nightmare mode specific ones, because why wouldn't they be? That just makes sense. That is, unless they're too difficult for most people to feasibly beat without Nightmare towers or insane micro. This would make sure the player can beat Nightmare mode on top of making sure they have a diverse inventory. Here's an example of what the challenge should look like. Win Nightmare mode on a Nightmare exclusive map, use John's axe ability to kill 8 enemies at once 25 times, defeat Eradicator Mark II Plus on 3 different hard maps, upgrade Machine Gunner to 5.2 90 times, use Golden Rager's grenade ability to stun enemies 250 times, deal 20 million damage with helicopters, use Warship to kill 25,000 enemies, use Ghost grenade ability to stealth 6 or more towers at once 50 times, use Bounty on enemies to earn 15 million cash in matches, and use Uber 100 times on event modes. And some of these numbers or objectives might need an adjustment, of course, since the quest should take the player at least a few matches to do with different loadouts and playstyles, but also shouldn't slog on. Remember, people will have to do this for each Nightmare tower. It should be something the player actually has to work towards, but not such a long grind that they get burned out. Also, the quest should be different for each tower, to not only keep things fresh, but also to have different towers shine. Making sure the player can beat Nightmare mode before they get Nightmare towers really helps them feel like a reward, and having a quest to get it should, in theory, help the grind be less repetitive and more memorable. Plus, after players get the new towers, they can then incorporate them into their loadouts. This would probably make Nightmare mode easier, which would then make the Nightmare towers feel even more like rewards. The two work together to make the experience a whole lot better. This is especially important because a lot of players have enough gold to be equivalent to the entire US Treasury and will buy the towers instantly, use them a bit, and get off the game until the next update. It really sucks that this is the current landscape of TDX, but hopefully this can fix that. Now, having to buy the tower with gold after the challenge not only respects the player's previous time playing, but the challenge should help them not feel the repetitiveness of grinding for a new tower for the 30th time. Onto different matters though, I heard a lot of people talking about how a new currency would suck because it would end up being gold too, which, let's be real, it probably would. We're all also rightly scarred from tedious hardcore, which was the real nightmare in this case, but I think if we had to have a new currency, it could work theoretically. John can call us whatever he wants, the name isn't important. The important part is how it works. After the player beats the challenge for a certain tower, the new currency could finally be used to buy the tower, just like gold. I don't think we need to switch anything up in how currency works, as that would probably be something stupid and convoluted. Still, I think that a new currency isn't needed and would probably just bloat the game. Gold would do this just fine. Most players of TDX don't have hundreds of thousands of gold, that's more of a top player thing. I mean, only a little over 5,000 people have even made it to level 150, and most of my friends who aren't level 150 yet are still grinding for towers. So, overall, a new currency isn't necessary or even the best option. And, as I was making this, it's been confirmed that there's a Nightmare currency. There's hope it won't be bad, and I've heard it should go off without a hitch if John executes it properly. I guess we'll just have to see. I think this could help make sure that players have to grind for towers rather than buying them and leaving after using them once. Obviously, that's why they've added it. John clearly wants this update to keep players grinding for those new towers since they've been struggling with player retention. Adding currency conversion would help players who have lots of gold use it by turning it into the new currency. This means players' time grinding for gold doesn't feel wasted because they can just convert their gold into the Nightmare currency. This helps reduce the grind for players who played the game more and lets them feel like their time was well spent, which in turn reduces player fatigue. Throwing gold aside means that what players have built up for Nightmare mode will go to waste, since it's unlikely they would be able to spend all that gold on other things if they're high level. I've seen players who don't have a lot of towers because they're saving up specifically for Nightmare towers, like 250,000 gold in the bank when they don't even have Gold Ranger. The only thing is finding the right exchange ratio to avoid players skipping Nightmare's grind altogether. But all of these positives from adding a new currency, specifically with currency conversion, are done even better by quests. Just by making a good challenge means that the player not only has an enjoyable time unlocking towers that's unique, but having the gold requirement stay means that players' gold can still go towards something. This comes without the hurdle of making a whole new currency and a balanced currency conversion system for it. So quite obviously, this is the best pick. Anyways, this is pretty short. I just wanted to get my idea out there to show how much better the grind could be for Nightmare mode and why we don't need a second currency. And here's another video where I talk about how TDX could be better.